Happy Monday, everybody. It is the 21st day of January, 2019. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on this holiday, this Monday holiday. It is, of course, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. You know what that means, of course. We celebrate the life of the civil rights leader. Also, a lot of things not happening. No school today. Governmental offices are closed today. Banks are closed. No mail delivery on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. In fact, we'll have a fascinating little story coming up during the news segment when our very own senior news correspondent Steve Hare and our very own Cat went off to John Newberry Elementary School to talk to some students about that. We'll also have a report on the two simultaneous rallies that were being held on Saturday morning at the Chelan County Courthouse. That's when we get to news. We have a lot of sports to get to. It was a busy sports weekend for the crew here on the NCW Live channel. We'll have Wild highlights. We'll have Eastmont basketball highlights, the whole 9 yards. That's coming up during our sports report. We have the obscure holiday birthdays today in history. Everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. And in the second half of the program, it's our monthly visit with our friends from the North Central Educational Services District, Cathy Meuret, who is the School Nurse Corps Administrator for the NCESD, North Central Educational Services District. We'll find out what exactly that is when we talk with Cathy coming up in the back half of the hour. Uriah from Tuck Mountain is in control, so let's start pushing some buttons and get your Monday going right with our views around North Central Washington. All the cameras are up and running, and we have clear skies. We're going to have some freezing fog possible, but for the most part, if you like the sunshine, and I'm one of those guys that likes the sunshine, we're in for a very pleasant day today before things get a little more active later on in the week. Beautiful view from our cross camera. And again, this is a view that has not been made available to us for the last couple of weeks for two reasons. First, we had that inversion layer, so there was nothing to see except just a slate of gray, and then once the clouds cleared out, our PTC camera quit working, but we got it up and running now. It's fixed, so there you go, our cross camera, which starts off our program whenever we can make it start off our program. From this point forward, Uriah gets to decide where we're going to visit. We're going to visit Turtle Rock. Well, we're going to visit Orondo Rock proper. The name of the camera is the Orondo Rock camera. I like to call it Turtle Rock because that usually dominates our view there. Look at all the snow up in the mountains. I bet you Mission Ridge had a really good weekend. Probably going to have a good day today, too. A lot of people taking the day off. Rocky Reach Dam to your right. You can't see the Wenatchee Valley. It's obscured by Turtle Rock, which, of course, looks like a huge rock. Camera 3, where are we going, Uriah? We're going to go up to, don't tell me, is that Jump Off Ridge? What are we looking at, Uriah? That is Jump Off Ridge. Normally, you can see the Wenatchee Valley, but it's way off to the right. So we decided to point that a little more westerly. The Stamil Basin is plainly in view. You can actually see, of course, Wenatchee Heights and the foothills that surround the Wenatchee Valley. Spectacular view from Jump Off Ridge. And that view is gorgeous, but it doesn't really do it justice. The best way to look at that view is actually going up there, but it's really hard to get there this time of the year. And besides, there's fences all over our cameras, so you got to break in to do so. And of course, that would be against the law. Camera number 4. We wrap up our visits with, let's see, Badger Mountain. That's Badger Mountain. Good shot there. Look at the wheat fields just sleeping away, going through another winter day, the Wenatchee Valley and the foothills of the Cascades and the Wenatchee Valley proper. Beautiful view from that location. Badger Mountain way up there on your way to beautiful Waterville. Spectacular view there. Wow, that's just incredible. I could just look at that all day. And yeah, we're in for some sunshine. And we deserve some sunshine. We had clouds and a chilly 36 yesterday, which is about normal for this time of year. We're going to have some sunshine. We will have some patchy freezing fog. In fact, let's take a look at the forecast from the National Weather Service. Some freezing fog before noon this morning. Outside of that, it's going to be sunny and a high of around 39 degrees. Now, it's only 25 right now, so we're off to a chilly start. You'll be scraping your windshield, by the way, if you park outside. Clouds will be thickening up tonight, 27 for the overnight low, so it's going to be pretty much dry and pretty quiet. And then this active weather pattern picks up again on Tuesday. We have a slight chance of some rain or snow in the middle of the day, and then if we get anything in the afternoon on Tuesday, it'll be rain, it'll be cloudy, and a high of 37. Same deal Tuesday night, a rain-snow mix, not a big chance of it, but probably rain, 33 for the overnight low on Tuesday night. Wednesday, back to the sunshine and a high of 45 degrees. That's some warm air. Pays us a visit. Whatever precipitation we get Wednesday is going to be in the form of rain. Sunshine Thursday, 42. Sunshine Friday, 42. No complaints there, but wouldn't you know it, just in time for the weekend, we'll have a few more clouds than sun. We'll have some more patchy morning fog, basically, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that we're expecting on Thursday or today. Outside of that, sunshine, temperatures above normal, with the exception of tomorrow, Tuesday, that high of 37. Just about where we should be this time of the year. That's your forecast from the National Weather Service. 5.5 minutes after the hour, to the passes we go. On this Monday, we'll start out with Snoqualmie Pass. We traditionally start with I-90. It's the most heavily traveled of the major mountain passes. No advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and wet. No problems at all. There's a traction tire advisory on Stevens, though. Let's take a live shot of Stevens. That's what it's looking like. Traction tires are advised up there. There is some snow and some frost and some ice in places, but there's nothing really coming down on the roadway. And there's Blewett. That's a live shot of Blewett. No advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and dry. So there is a traction tire advisory on Stevens, but from what I can tell, it doesn't look too bad with no snow coming down. And they're going to have sunshine up in the mountain passes today, too, just like us, high of about 29. Snow tonight, a little bit, ½ inch, maybe just a skiff of snow expected on the mountain passes tonight. But that's going to change on Tuesday. Since we're going to have valley rain, they're going to have snow. Check it out. Tuesday during the day tomorrow, 3 to 5 inches of snow in the mountain passes, and then 4 to 8 inches of snow expected on Tuesday night before the storm system kind of peters out on Wednesday, and then all the way through the weekend, from Thursday into the weekend, sunshine to the mountain passes. So traction tires advised this morning on Stevens, no advisories or restrictions on Blewett. I think you're pretty much good to go. 6 minutes after the hour, almost 7 minutes after the hour on this Martin Luther King Jr. edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's your Monday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
My name is Lacey Haggerty, and I'm a nurse midwife with Columbia Valley Community Health. I love all aspects of my job because it is a profession that's very committed to empowering women to make decisions in their health care that feel best for them. It's incredibly valuable to me as a midwife that I get to take care of women throughout their whole lifespan. I hope to see you at a future visit because I know you'll love having midwifery care.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
And we are back at 8 minutes after the hour on this Monday, 25 degrees, fairly clear skies, sunshine for the most part today, high of about 38 or 39. And for the most part, for the balance of this week, we're going to see quite a bit of sunshine. Here's your Monday morning headlines. The Chelan County Courthouse, the scene of 2 separate rallies. On Saturday, the Memorial Park side of the courthouse featured the Wenatchee Women's March, while the south side of the courthouse hosted the Right to Life rally. Attorney General Bob Ferguson addressed the Women's March group and used a sports analogy to highlight the number of cases filed in this state in opposition of the Trump administration's policies.
We've now filed 33 lawsuits against the Trump administration, and you know, one great thing about litigation, it's kind of like sports. There's an outcome. You either win or you lose. It's easy to file a lawsuit. It's a lot harder to win. We have 18 results in 18 courts all across the country on those 33 cases so far. They're all ongoing, but 18 we've had decisions. Now, it's not like I'm keeping score or anything, but I thought you should know that the record so far is State of Washington 18, Trump administration 0. And what I want you, when I file one of those lawsuits, when my team files one of those lawsuits, we do it on behalf of the people of the state of Washington, which means it's not me who's 18-0, right? It's not the Attorney General's office. It's each and every one of you, 18, Trump administration 0. Thank you.
The Women's March concluded with a procession through the streets of downtown Wenatchee before concluding back where it started at Memorial Park. The Right to Life rally, held annually on or near the anniversary of the Supreme Court's 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, attracted nearly 400 people who gathered to hear speakers pray and sing. Pastor Adam James of Grace City Church was the keynote speaker.
Friends, the matter is settled biblically, medically, scientifically, embryologically, philosophically, legally, theologically. The unborn is a unique human being, a distinct person, deserving of protection, care, rights, and profound awe and respect.
And that rally ended with a march around Memorial Park. Well, today, of course, is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and learning about the life and times of Martin Luther King Jr. was part of the curriculum for students at John Newberry Elementary School last week. And last week, NCW Life talked with second graders in Mrs. Marsh Lane's class about what they learned about the civil rights leader.
Brooke Marsh Lane is the second grade teacher here at Newberry Elementary School who was kind enough to let us talk to her students today. So the message that Martin Luther King, I guess, all really resonates with these kids.
I think it's that he changed people's thinking and he changed people's feelings with peaceful marches, that he showed equality, freedom, and peace. And we talked about a podium and what a podium looks like and how he stood behind that. And I think that he had his support system with Coretta Scott by his side through those speeches and marches.
This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We're talking today about Martin Luther King Day, which will be celebrated on Monday. And you're learning all about him, as I understand.
Yes.
You are. Okay, so what can you tell me? Why is Martin Luther King important? Why is he famous?
Because he made the white and black, that nobody can judge if they're different or not.
Because he wanted to everybody to care.
To care?
With the words that he says.
Okay.
He was a good person, and he helped everybody to be friends and be like a family.
It doesn't matter what people's skin color is. It matters how they act to you. If they're kind.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about Martin Luther King?
Yeah. How he died, he got shot, and he shouldn't have gotten shot, because he was a good person.
Why is he so important, do you think?
Because he made it so black people and white people could be together.
I'm a fan of him, and then we're learning about him, and I know that he's married to someone.
Yeah. His wife. What do you remember? What his wife's name was? Coretta.
Coretta.
Coretta. Yeah. So what did he say in his speeches?
I have a dream
And what was his dream?
to have peace on earth.
Peace on earth.
He was born in 1929 and died at 1968.
He said he told people that black people and white people should be treated the same.
What was so important about Martin Luther King's speech?
That he dreamed that one day that little girls and boys that were white and black could go to school together and be together.
He stood for honor, I think.
Honor, that's right.
He was shot by a white person because he didn't like the rules that Martin Luther King made.
What kind of rules did he make?
He made to treat others how you want to be treated, and he wanted others to be kind and helpful. He would not fight, but he would use his words to change the world. Black and white were apart, and Martin Luther King tried to change the laws so that Martin Luther King
and other whites could be together.
Why did the world need to be changed?
Because black and white people couldn't go on the same bus. Because he wanted to change the world and make everyone happy.
What would you do if you were Martin Luther King today?
I would be nice to everybody. He gave a lot of speeches, and he wanted to have black people and white people be together and be in the same schools.
What did he say?
He had a dream.
He has a dream.
He gave speeches to make people think and made them feel.
Okay.
And he gave speeches so he could change the rules, that white people and black people could go to the same school and do stuff with each other, like play with each other.
I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
And that is your news on this Monday morning, the 21st day of January, 2019. We're going to have the entire weekend in a nice little recap of the evening news with Grant Olson. Comes your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Grant Olson in the anchor chair. Eric Grandstrom is back from assignment. He'll have sports. So the news tonight at 5, 6, and 10 right here on the NCW Life Channel. 17 minutes after the hour, speaking of sports with Eric Grandstrom, he did a lot of sports gathering yesterday. We got a bunch of sports coming your way when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 1 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere, so when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
Put winter weather in its place with a new Cub Cadet snow thrower from Rose Tractor. Hi, this is Corey. Let us help you get through the season with our line of Cub Cadet snow throwers. When it comes to snow, never let winter weather get in your way. The Cub Cadet X Series line of snow throwers offers 3 levels of snow clearing power and a host of award-winning models. Get ahead of the snow. Let us help you get into the right snow thrower for the job. Rose Tractor, family owned and operated, located at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
18 minutes after the hour on this Monday, I'm Dan Kuntz. Let's do sports. Of course, now we know the two teams are going to meet in Super Bowl 53 in a couple of weeks. Some very good and exciting conference championship games yesterday. Greg Zuerlein's 57-yard field goal in overtime helped the Rams win the NFC Championship 26-23 over the Saints. Zuerlein had tied the game in the closing seconds of regulation to send it into overtime on a 48-yard field goal. In Kansas City, it took New England overtime to down the Chiefs 37-31. Patriots took the first drive of the extra session, punched their ticket to the Super Bowl with a 2-yard touchdown run by Rex Burkhead. So there you go. We're ready to go in Atlanta in 2 Sundays, February 3rd. 41-year-old Tom Brady and his 66-year-old coach Bill Belichick takes on the upstart 24-year-old Jared Goff and his 32-year-old coach Sean McVay. Patriots, Rams, Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. Check local listings. Before we get to the recap on high school sports, let's turn to the Les Schwab scoreboard and see how the Wenatchee Wild did over the weekend. It started out really good for the Wild, a big 6-2 win on Friday night over the visiting Trail Smoke Eaters. Wenatchee got off to a quick start with Nathan Iannone finding the back of the net just 3 minutes into the first period. Arch Ecker with the call on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
Adams with a one-touch pass for Iannone. He's in near side, shoots and he scores! Nathan Iannone using the Smoke Eater defenseman as a screen. From the top of the right circle, let a snapshot fly. Comes Chase Stevenson. Stevenson tries to go wide on Grabel. Comes across in front, shoots, and he scores. Boy, a nice goal by Chase Stevenson. Did that one all himself. See what the Wild can do with his man advantage. Brandon Cook over to Fletcher, top of the circle, down low to Souter. Backdoor shot, score! Matt Dorsey, as the Wild wasted no time on that one. Dorsey up high to Cook. Back over to Souter, top of the near circle. Fluttered down low for Fletcher. He walks in front, he shoots and he scores! P.J. Fletcher. Dorsey's going to take off on the right side. The fans roar. They've seen him do this before. He's in. Centering pass, shot, score! A.J. Hodges finishes it off. It's going to be gathered there. And here come the Wild. Dorsey's got help. He shoots, score by Hodges! Met there by Stratton. Stratton flutters it down low. Dug out by Braden Tuck. Shot save, rebound, score. Owen Ozar got a hold of the loose puck and leaves it for Herzog. He's got help with Iannone on the far side. He's going to take it himself, though. Herzog dances in front and he scores! Dylan Herzog. His first goal of the year and of beauty. And the fans give the guys in the black sweaters a well-deserved round of applause. And there's a late check thrown by Darby as he flattened Reifenberger at the whistle. Kind of a useless check. Squashed him on the end boards, but nothing further will come from it. They might think about it tomorrow. Maybe they won't.
So that was Friday. On Saturday, things seemed to really turn on a very controversial no-goal call in the second period. It went against the Wild. The game decided in a shootout. Trail came out on top once again. We'll pick up the highlights, including that controversial call with Arch Ecker on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
Aiden Rowan hits the brakes, loses it to Adams. Adams in front to Reifenberger, and he scores. No, that was a goal. 120% that's a goal. Mike Ellis waved it off, and play is continuing. And there's a penalty. It looks like it's going to be assessed, but they got to go back. The goal light went on. There is 120%. That thing was in the back of the net. No, that was absolutely a goal. Stick handles back over to Johnson. He winds. Shot, pad, save, rebound, another save. But the second rebound is backhanded in, and the Smoke Eaters have tied it up. Souter on the near wing. He whips back behind the net. Sharply back to Stratton, and is offering just up over and in. The puck popcorned up and went straight up and fell down behind Marcoux and rolled across the line. Third period underway, puck in front. A wraparound attempt and a score by Trail. Mac Byers ended up with the puck, and he was able to dance through the top of the crease. Now in the right wing corner, 6 seconds left. Souter in front, up across to the left side. Gribel, backhander, shot! Where is it? The fans are roaring. The goal light never went on. I think Marcoux had it, and we ran out of time. Here's Hayden Rowan going to chase it down. Stratton is back. Rowan back across. In front shot. What a save made by Sandquist. Powell Connor was coming in alone, and Sandquist denied him. Worked across. Puck stolen away. Reifenberger. He's in alone. He shoots, and a save made. Rebound is going to be gloved by Zins, and the horn sounds. Reifenberger had the game on his stick, and Marcoux came up with a big stop right there. And that's going to send this game into a shootout. Owen Ozar's a right-handed shot. He angles way over to his right, comes back across, and dangles shot off the pipe, and no good. And for the Wild, they'll send down Lucas Souter. He was successful in his shootout attempt. Back on Wednesday against Penticton. So let's see what the left-handed captain does here. Angles over to his left. He's in, dangles back, gets the brakes, and that one is poke checked away. Second shooter will be Kent Johnson for the Smoke Eaters. We talked about Johnson earlier. He's the left-handed commit to Michigan. He's in, he shoots, and he put it right through the wickets. And they'll call on Matt Dorsey. So Dorsey angles to his left, cuts across, back across, shot. And a save made by Marcoux. Stevenson, the left-hander, angles over to his right. He's in, he shoots, and he fires it wide. And they're going to call on Murphy Stratton. So if he scores, we will continue. If he's turned aside, then Trail wins. Stratton in, between the legs, no dice. Tried a fancy shot, and Marcoux kicks it aside.
The homestand continues Wednesday, a 6 o'clock game against Meuret. And then Langley comes in on Friday and Chilliwack on Saturday. All those games at the Town Toyota Center. Let's back up to Friday for the weekend in prep sports. The Les Schwab Prep Scoreboard will give you the information you need. In girls basketball, the Eastmont Wildcats got off to a really good start, but they couldn't keep it up in the second half. They fell to Eisenhower 48-43 despite a good game from Britt Vaughn. Grant Olson and Eric Kuntz had the call right here on the NCW Life channel.
Vara dumps it down low. Vaughn, the turnaround jumper from 6, good. Now it's Cora Fry down low, can't get the shot off to Cox. She's gonna take the 3, good! Automatically almost get a turnover. Brown picks up the loose ball. There's Vaughn underneath, another bunny, missed the first, made the second. Cox can't get the roll. Schmitten had her hands on it. Vaughn picks it up and in. Heimbigner dumps it down to Brown, who's been really quiet this quarter. Can't get the shot, the rebound into the hands of Valentinez. Got to have a 3 now. Here's Cox set up. NBA 3. Too hard, no good. Rodriguez the rebound. To DeGrasse. Layup, good. And that'll do it here from Eastmont High School.
Also on Friday night play in girls play, Kashmir dispatched Chelan 75-34. As you see the Les Schwab Prep scoreboard there. Cascade 9 better than Okanagan. Waterville Mansfield mauling Manson. Turning to the Les Schwab Prep boys scoreboard from Friday night. Eastmont got out to a quick start, finished with 3 players in double figures to down Eisenhower 63-51. Grant Olson and Eric Kuntz again with the call right here on the NCW Life channel.
They don't want it to be a 20-point lead going into the break.
No, they want to get something going on offense.
Wellborn left alone, 3, good. Just like that. 3:40 left to go, second quarter. Wellborn on the dribble, working against McDonald. What a great dribble to get away from pressure, up and in. Smith-Gary working on Feeney. Lost control of the basketball. Feeney comes up with it. Esparza has it. The ball's still kind of wildly loose. Who's got it out there?
Nobody.
Still loose, and finally Esparza comes up with it. Into the lane, layup, good! How about that at the buzzer? To Nelson, it goes through his hands to Haberlock. Tough shot from outside, 3! Esparza now, near side to Nelson. Back out, Haberlock's gonna take a 3, it's good! Why not? Massey will just hold it, and that will do it here from Eastmont High School.
Also on Friday night, Kashmir's Mason Landak had 43 points. Bulldogs beating Chelan 85-73. Okanagan clobbered Cascade. Manson stopping Waterville Mansfield 52-28. Move ahead to Saturday. We'll start with the Les Schwab girls prep scoreboard. The Eastmont girls provided stingy defense and forced West Valley into several first-half turnovers, but they wilted midway through the third quarter. They fell 57-41. Our very own Eric Granstrom with the call on the NCW Live channel.
Chandler across to Cox. 3-point launch for hers off the back of the iron and goes in. On the perimeter, defense comes. Caitlin Cox takes the ball, says thank you very much. She'll take it all the way, lay it up and good. Now the ball is in the paint, knocked away, loose on the floor. Cross-court pass with 7-6. Here's a 3-pointer, good. Feels like they've been forever without a bucket from the field. I think they have been forever. Brown's going to try to change that with a 3-pointer. It's good. Winslow has it, inbounds, left side. Get it into Fetzer for a 3-pointer at the buzzer. It's good from in the circle out near midcourt. The court strike goes left side to Curtis, collects it back. Drives, kicks, Curtis, 3-pointer, good. Big second half here for the West Valley Rams. And that will do it. 57-41 is our final.
Also on Saturday in girls basketball, Wenatchee fell on the road at Davis 57-44, so the Panthers are still looking for their first win of the season. Waterville-Mansfield improved to 13-3 with an easy victory over Pateras. Aniat edging Riverside Christian. Les Schwab Prep scoreboard Saturday. On the boys' side, Eastmont and West Valley played a classic back-and-forth contest. 6 ties, 7 lead changes, but the Rams came out on top 54-51. Once again, Eric Grandstrom with the call on the NCW Life Channel.
Haverlock in the corner. Inside to Massey. Massey turns, hands it off to Esparza. He'll shoot it, miss it. Massey rebound, put back, good. As Funk has it, had it, lost it. Ball loose, picked up by Eastmont. Esparza trying to get some help, finds Massey. He'll ball fake, shoot it, make it. Isaac stops and pops from the free throw line, won't go. Rebound, Massey though, comes up with it. Kalen's having a great game. Now to Haverlock for 2. It's no good. Rebound offensive by Esparza. Out to Massey for a 2. It's good. Rebound picked up defensively. Caffrey drives in the paint, kicks it out in the corner for a 3-pointer. It's good. Ouch, that hurts. Up to Calvillo. He'll drive it down the lane. Force up the shot, miss it. Offensive rebound again by Kalen Massey. He'll feed to Esparza. Good. Dorsett works off the pick from Rojas. Feeds it off to Vanderbrake. Almost traveled. 4 on the shot clock. Good. 3-pointer from Vanderbrake. Might be an ankle breaker tonight. Inbounds pass by Esparza. Gets it into Massey. Kalen turns, drives it down, kicks it out for Haverlock for a 3. Good. And he's fouled. Count the bucket. The free throw by Haverlock is good. Outside it comes to Dorsett. Dorsett drives, kicks it off to Funk for a lay-in. Good with 17 seconds to go. You would hope for a better look than that, but that's the look that came. Inbounds pass comes in. Massey steals the ball, shoots a 3-pointer. Oh, off the back of the iron. Kalen Massey almost completed the most amazing game tonight.
Yeah, but it wasn't to be. West Valley wins it 54-51. Also on Saturday, Wenatchee maintains their position atop the Big Nine with a 67-58 road win at Davis. Riverside Christian beats Aniat Pateras over Waterville-Mansfield. Coming up this week on the NCW Life sports schedule, it's a big one. Tomorrow night we'll be at Eastmont High School. The Wildcats hosting Wenatchee and Big Nine Wrestling at 7 o'clock. Hockey night Thursday. We have Friday's Wild game against Trail coming your way. On Friday, Sunnyside of Wenatchee, girls-boys doubleheader basketball game starting at 5:30. And then, although it's not on your screen, on Saturday we'll be at Eastmont as Wenatchee crosses the river. The girls first at 5:30, followed by the boys at 7:30, right here on your home for local sports, the NCW Life Channel. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Monday at 33 minutes after the hour. There's nothing obscure about the obscure holiday today. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's always celebrated on the third Monday in January, as near to his birthday as possible, which is January 15th. The holiday was first proposed just 4 days after his assassination, but it took 10 years of rejection and all kinds of disputes. People wanted to call it National Civil Rights Day. Congress finally passed the bill in 1983. It was signed into law by President Reagan, but we didn't actually start observing Martin Luther King Jr. Day until 1986, and the very last state to make it a paid holiday was New Hampshire, believe it or not, back in 1999. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, 33 minutes after the hour. Today in history, 226 years ago, King Louis XVI lost his head, and I mean literally. The last king of France was executed by guillotine after he was found guilty of treason by the French National Convention. And the last king of France, Louis XVI, executed by guillotine on this date 226 years ago. Probably should have done a better job than that. January 21st, 1915, 104 years ago. Happy birthday to the Kiwanis. Kiwanis International, founded on this date in Detroit. There are about 600,000 members now worldwide. One of the great service groups ever celebrates their 104th birthday. Today is the 40th anniversary of one of the best Super Bowls ever played, Super Bowl 13. I remember this one. Pittsburgh defeats Dallas 34-31 at the Orange Bowl. It's the 5th and final Super Bowl played at the Orange Bowl, and it was the first Super Bowl that featured a rematch of two teams that had played at a previous Super Bowl. Super Bowl 13 was played 40 years ago on this date. And you remember the DeLorean, the DMC-12 sports car? It started production on this date 38 years ago in Northern Ireland. They only did 3 model years, the 81, the 82, the 83. They made about 9,000 of them. About 6,000 DeLoreans still exist. When you see one, it definitely catches your eye. Finally, birthdays. At 35 minutes after the hour, a couple of former state governors were born in this state. Al Rossellini was the 15th governor of the state of Washington. He died at the age of 101 7 years ago. He served from 1957 to 1965, and he is the longest living U.S. governor ever. Al Rosalini, born in the state in 1910. Gary Locke, the 21st governor of the state of Washington, is 69 years old today. He served from 1997 to 2005. Kind of ironic that the two governors share the same birthday. Alfred Hawthorne Hill, Benny Hill, born in the state in 1924. I'm an unabashed fan of Benny Hill. Sorry, that's just the way it is. He died at the age of 68 back in 1992. Wolfman Jack. You know what his real name was? Bob Smith. Probably a good idea that he changed it to Wolfman Jack. He was born in the state in 1938, passed away at the age of 57 back in 1995. Jack Nicklaus is 79 years old today. 18 major championships, 19 second-place finishes, 9 third-place finishes, and 72 top 10 finishes in the majors alone. Jack, the Golden Bear, is 79, and Paul Allen. We just lost Paul, of course, back in October. He was born in the state in 1953, one of the co-founders of Microsoft. 36 minutes after the hour, everyone's entitled to Mike McKnight's opinion. Then my conversation with Cathy Meuret. Coming up, you're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate Frappuccino.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha Frappitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Okay, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, during my senior year of high school, I used to play music over the PA system before classes started, and one day I was playing some Bob Dylan. Well, one of the teachers was listening, and she said, "I like Bob Dylan's music, but I wish somebody else would sing the songs." And then she walked out of the office, and thankfully out of my life. Bob Dylan, voice and all, he's a legend. And this crazy lady wanted somebody else to sing his songs. I mean, like him or hate him, that's fine, okay, but whatever. But Bob Dylan is who he is. He's a music icon, was then, is now. And because of his lyrics and also because of his vocalizing, somebody else should sing his songs. Sheesh. It's just another example of having an education but still being stupid. Okay, well, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion.
Welcome back to Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. One day a month we set aside so our friends from the North Central Educational Services District can drop by and say hi and fill us in on the latest happenings. And the month of January is no exception. My guest today, making her debut on this show, is Cathy, and I don't want to butcher your last name, Cathy Meuret, who is the School Nurse Corps Administrator of the North Central Educational Services District. That's it. What exactly is that, Cathy? First of all, welcome to the show. And
thank you.
What do you do?
Well, the School Nurse Corps Administrator is one of the roles that is a support for school nurses in our region, in the region that North Central ESD serves. So I cover the 4 counties, and I provide a variety of services for school nurses. In some cases, our program actually provides them with some funding dollars to help them with their direct care expenses at the schools, and in other ways I support them through mentoring programs, through professional education and consultation services. Okay. So we support some schools financially, and other schools we support in non-direct ways.
So how many school nurses are in the North Central Educational Services District? It's a big district, a lot of schools. How many school nurses do you have?
It is a big district. We have about 45 school nurses throughout the region. Yes, it's a lot of school nurses, but we have 29 districts, and we have about 40,000 students. So we need a lot of coverage.
Now it doesn't seem so much.
No.
No, you look at that ratio, maybe that's not enough.
No, it's slim.
Are you short-staffed?
Oh, we have no open positions right now,
Okay.
so no, we are not short-staffed in that way. We certainly would always like to see more school nursing hours. So the hours for school nurses are quite variable across the districts. You know, they can range anywhere from a few hours a month, up to 8 hours a week, up to 40 hours a week, depending on the district.
And yep, that makes perfect sense to me. What's the difference between a school nurse and a regular RN that you would run into at a clinic or a hospital? What's the number one difference between those two?
Well, one of the differences I think between nursing in a school and nursing in, say, a clinic or or another private agency is that school nurses are really directed by the state of Washington. So as opposed to working under an agency's policies and procedures, in terms of how healthcare is delivered there, school nurses really look to Washington state law. They will look to the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction and different regulations and standards around school nurse practice. And that really is what directs the work there. I think another really important issue is the level of independence with school nursing. You know, in clinic setting, you're often working with a group. You have a staff team that you are able to interact with throughout the day. And school nurses largely are working independently, at least in the school nurse role. There's a lot of collaborative efforts that are going on between the school nurse, for example, and counselors at the school, and school staff, and the superintendent, and the principal. So there's a lot of teamwork going on in that way. But in terms of the other medical providers within the school nurse is often there on their own.
This is the cold and flu season. It's the dead of winter. And my guess is all 48 of your nurses are pretty busy this time of the year?
It is quite busy, yes. We've had at least a couple of close calls so far with whooping cough, and we were just notified just yesterday of an issue that's going on in the Clark County area with some measles. So we just keep an eye on those things that are happening around us. It's pretty easy for illnesses to pass, from county to county. So just keeping an eye on things within our own region to make sure that we're all on top of that.
Do you get a daily statistical rundown of how many kids are out and why they're out? So when Johnny's mother calls up the school and says, Johnny is sick, he's got the flu or something like that, you can say, okay, we got 4 kids at Vale Elementary, as an example, that have the flu now all of a sudden. Is that something that lands on your desk, on your radar?
Yeah, not on my desk specifically, but certainly it's something that the school nurses themselves are looking at, and the staff at the districts. So they're keeping track of absences and the rationale for the absences, looking at illnesses specifically to see, because there can be a wide variety of reasons that students might not be at school, but what they're really looking for is number of absences. Then we work closely with our public health departments in regards to, at what percentage of students are we going to be notifying them, or what type of symptoms are we looking for to make that call to get public health involved.
Yeah, eventually, if it gets bad enough, you have to tell everybody, hey, okay, we have an issue here, and that would fall on the hands of the Chelan Douglas Health District, I suppose.
That's correct, or Grant County or Okanagan County, depending on the district location.
All in all, are the kids in the North Central Educational Services District fairly healthy? I mean, you hear about outbreaks like whooping cough and other things in other locations, and now measles in Clark County, but I don't recall anything of significance happening in this area in quite some time, an outbreak involving students and schools.
Actually, there have been a few outbreaks in the Moses Lake area. Nothing, not exactly recently, but we do have those kind of issues on occasion. I think kids are probably generally healthy in our region. We do collect data on students on an annual basis. Not on specific students, but just in general, looking at health conditions that we see, and we keep track of those, largely because some of them require much more nursing oversight than others. And so we're looking to see how many students we have, for example, with asthma, how many students we have with diabetes. So while it might not be an outbreak, for example, of a specific type of infectious disease, we're always tracking how many children we have with a variety of chronic illnesses.
You said you have 48 in the program. That is throughout the North Central Educational Services District, serving over 40,000 kids. Are they all RNs by by statute, do you have to be a registered nurse, or can you be a CNA or that kind of deal?
By statute, a school would be required to have a nurse. And so a nurse in a school district could be a registered nurse with an associate degree. It could be a licensed vocational nurse or LPN that could be working in a district. But all school nurses who have a bachelor's degree in nursing are going to be providing a level of oversight to others. So you could have you might have an example would be we've had a licensed nurse, LPN, working in a district, and then a registered nurse would come up and provide some oversight to that nurse's practice, largely because registered nurses are the nurse that really would be assigned to do things like a student assessment, really looking at developing a plan of care for the student. So that level of responsibility does fall to the RN. Currently, we have all RNs in our district.
Well, that's
now.
good. You want that, do you not?
Yes.
So.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When it's possible, we do.
The nursing schools around here at Wenatchee Valley College, via Central Washington University, outstanding reputation for cranking out some top quality nurses. At what point when you're in the nursing program earning your degree, be it whatever it is, an RN or an LPN or a certified nurse assistant, at what point do you want to plant the seed that, most people associate nurses with hospitals and clinics. At what point do you say, hey, well, maybe being a school nurse might be the way to go? Is there a recruiting process? How does that work?
That is an excellent question. Yes, that's a wonderful question. And I have a wonderful relationship with the Wenatchee Valley College faculty, and have had a few meetings with them about how we might develop a stronger tie between the programs and really start linking the students to our program. Right now, they do a rotation through a school nurse through the district, so we match them up with a school nurse, and they do get a short opportunity to come and observe school nurse practice, but we'd like to strengthen that program up.
Let me draw this scenario and you walk me through it for any parent out there. Little Johnny jump up, I don't feel very good, Miss Hoover, can I go to the bathroom? Miss Hoover sends to the bathroom, he's sick, he throws up, whatever the case may be. He comes back, I threw up, I'm sick. At what do they just simply call the parent? Johnny jump up is sick, come get him? Or at what point does the school nurse become involved, or do you bring in a school nurse if she's not physically on campus that day? Walk me through that scenario.
Okay.
From your
Well,
standpoint.
if the school nurse happens to be on the campus that day, then certainly they would become involved in assessing that student to see, what the student's symptoms were, and did the student need to, that description of that student, they probably would be calling the parent and saying, yes, parent, this student needs to go home. But in many cases, there is not necessarily a school nurse on the campus in that day. Now, that could be because the school nurse is in another building and could come over and assess that student, but it could be because the school nurse is just only in a part-time position and isn't there. One of the things the school nurses do is they spend a lot of their time training other staff within the district. And so for example, they would be working with, if the school has a health assistant or if the school has a secretary who is filling in that role when the school nurse is not available, that person would then be the one who would step in and follow the protocols that the school nurse has put in place for how do you manage a student who has these type of symptoms.
Okay.
And then they would follow through with that plan.
Is it simply a given that when you send your kid through a public school, either the school or the system, that if this kid gets sick, you have my permission to give the kid an aspirin or take his temperature or take his blood pressure, that kind of deal? Or is there forms you got to fill out, or is that?
There are definitely forms that you would need to fill out. And so, yes, really the responsibility for the student's health belongs with the parent.
Right.
And so the parent needs to make decisions about what the school is going to be able to provide for the student and what they would like to restrict. And so they would complete, usually at the beginning of each school year, a parent completes an entire packet of forms on, from healthcare to every other,
Right.
aspect of having the student in school.
And you have, I'm assuming, again, I'm throwing a spitball here, I'm assuming you have a database so you know that Betty has a peanut allergy and Johnny has diabetes and has to take a shot every you have this information available to you.
We do.
At your fingertips.
Yes, in most cases, almost every district has an electronic health record. It includes not only, all the demographic information about the student, their parent information, and their home address, all of that type of information, but certainly there is a module within it that includes their health information. And so school nurses manage documentation within that system, everything from medication administration documentation to health room visit documentation is all done in electronic format.
We have a logo that we threw up, and we're going to throw it up again. It's the 20th anniversary of this organization. Please explain to me what that organization is and how they've been doing good for the last 20 years.
Right.
Talk about the SNC.
All right. Well, the School Nurse Corps actually has been in place now since 1999. It was developed when the legislature started looking at how healthcare was being delivered in the schools. So the legislature decided to do a survey in '97 to look at how many nurses were in the districts, what were the healthcare concerns of the students, and how were they being met across the state. As a result of that, when they did that, they found that there were quite a bit of discrepancies in how healthcare was being handled across the state, in how many nursing hours were actually available to the students. And what they decided to do was really address that issue and focus particularly on smaller and rural schools because they really had the least number of nursing hours. Not really necessarily less healthcare issues, but not nearly as many services available as some of the larger districts had. So the School Nurse Corps was really developed as a way to really look at the inequities across the state and to be able to provide support services to those Class 2 or smaller districts. So in our area, we have many Class 2 districts because we are largely small and rural.
Right.
And so the School Nurse Corps is really a way for us to receive funding from the legislature on an annual basis. We then manage it. The School Nurse Corps has administrators across the state. So each educational service district has a person in my role. So there are 9 of us who work as a team, and one of our roles is really to look at once the funding is determined, we then can look at what are the needs of our districts, how can we divvy the money out in a fair process to help support school nurse hours, and then what kind of services are we able to provide for those districts in terms of professional education, orientation programs, mentoring programs, materials that they can access if they don't have funds for their own equipment and materials, they borrow them from our library.
How far back does actual school nursing go? I mean, at what point does somebody go, hey, we got 400 kids in the same building, it's probably not a bad idea that we have a nurse hanging around? Does that go back to the beginning of formal public education, or is it a somewhat new?
Well, I'm thinking of a one-room schoolhouse
Yeah.
when there was no
Sure.
school nurse, and the number of students was quite small. But as schools grow and more services really began to center around the school, then you saw the addition of roles like this. There didn't used to be roles like physical therapists and counselors and school nurses, trying to support all these other needs that the students have. I think people, still think of the school as a place where students go and, my student is going there to learn.
Right.
And so everyone there is going to really be supporting that educational process. But the student also comes with several other concerns at times, and some of those are medical concerns, and some of those are behavioral or mental concerns. There's just a wide variety of needs the students have, and it isn't possible really for teachers who have a large group of students to really be able to manage these things. And so you have these other health professionals that are in the districts now who really are providing that type of support.
How do these two things mold together, a good quality public education and a school nurse corps? How do those two correlate from an education standpoint? I mean, we want our kids to be healthy and happy. how does that work? I mean,
well, besides being healthy and happy, we would really like them to be well educated. And so in order to be educated and to go to school and be ready to learn every day, one, you have to be there. So you have to be able to show up in school, and then you have to be able to be ready, to actually learn. And what school nursing really provides for students is someone who focuses truly on the health of the student and on all of the other needs that the student might be bringing in so that those can be addressed. School nurses can help reduce absenteeism because when you have a student who has either chronic health issues or other types of issues that prevent them from coming to school, then suddenly you have these barriers to really being able to effectively learn. So part of the role of the school nurse is really to reduce that absenteeism rate and keep kids in school. Also to keep them in the classroom. Sometimes kids really like to look for ways to get out of class. So they may come to the school, they may not be absent on a daily basis, but they also might not be in the room. And so that's the other role of the nurse, is really to be in touch with those kids. Maybe they have no obvious health issue at all, but they're not in the classroom. And so part of their role is really working with those students in a case management type of technique to help them remain in class.
I'm assuming there's situations when a kid is in school and he's not feeling well, but he's telling everybody he's fine, and at some point the teacher has to go to somebody and says, I don't think Billy is doing very well. He says he's fine, but to me, he's obviously sick. At that point, does the school nurse step into that? I mean,
if the school nurse is there, yes,
right.
they would be able to get involved with that. And if they weren't, there would be a protocol in place for other staff to step in and begin that process of, what kind of symptoms is the student having, and trying to identify, well, is this really an illness-related type of event, or is the student hungry? Or is the student? I mean, there could be a lot of other things that are going on that need to be considered.
And I guess there's some difficult things. All of a sudden Billy has a bruise that he didn't have before, and he doesn't want to talk about it, and all of a sudden you get into that kind of situation.
Correct.
We're almost out of time, Cathy. One last question: what's the biggest myth or misconception about school nurses? What's the number one stereotype that needs to just go away, get out of people's heads because they don't get it?
I think one of the misconceptions that people have is I think that parents are under the belief that there is a school nurse with their student every day. So when the student is in the school, they think that there is going to be a health professional who's going to be able to monitor them every day, 5 days a week, and that really is not the case. In many districts, the school nurse might be in a building 1 day a week, maybe 2 days a week. Often school nurses are covering multiple buildings within a district, or a district only has one person in a part-time position as little as 8 hours a week. So it is very limited. So a lot of health work that the nurse is really involved in is training others and then evaluating that training on a regular basis to make sure that people are very comfortable in regards to, if they're providing medications to a student or whatever task the nurses delegated to them, that they feel comfortable with that.
Well, I guess we'll wrap up where we started, because when Cathy told me there's 48 RNs in the North Central Educational Services District, I thought that's a great number. And then she sped out for 48,000 kids, and I go, okay, maybe it's not such a. You have to do any lobbying for like funds and more people? Hey, sure, be great if we had enough money for 60.
Yes, we currently are working on that. We're hoping that we, actually the School Nurse Corps funding was reduced quite a bit over the years, and we are working diligently to try to get the dollars increased, largely because we would like to be able to provide additional hours for some districts, additional education for districts, so yes, we certainly would appreciate more funding for the
keep
School
up the
Nurse
big
Corps.
fight then, all right? We're all on board. Thank you for joining us, Cathy. I learned a lot today. I'd like to get smarter. It doesn't often happen, but I like it. You're watching Wake Up in Angie Valley on the NCW Live channel. We'll be right back. Told you we'd be right back. I have enough time to say bye-bye. See you Tuesday. Take care.